They said it loud enough for half the terminal to hear. Not a whisper, not an accident. Loud, confident, almost theatrical. You don't belong in this line. That was the first sentence. The second was worse. Priority boarding isn't for people like you. And the third one, the one that stuck in my chest like a stone, confidence doesn't make you qualified. I remember thinking, wow, so this is really happening. Middle of a weekday, fluorescent lights buzzing, coffee in my hand, barely warm, and a stranger had decided that today I was going to be his lesson. Let me back up a little. My name isn't important, so let's call me Naomi Carter. I was 41 at the time, flying out of a mid-sized airport in the Midwest, the kind with one main terminal and a food court that smells like burnt pretzels. I wasn't dressed to impress. No heels, no designer bag, just a dark coat. Flat shoes, hair pulled back neat because I'd been up since 4 in the morning, and comfort mattered more than presentation. I'd learned that lesson the hard way over the years. When you've spent enough time being underestimated, you stop dressing for approval and start dressing for yourself. I stepped into the priority boarding line when my group was called. Simple as that. Boarding pass in hand, headphones around my neck, mind already halfway on the plane. That's when he stepped forward. Tall, white, confident in that effortless way people get when life keeps rewarding them for being loud. He had a crisp jacket, a smug smile, and the kind of voice that expects obedience just by existing. He looked me up and down like he was scanning a defective product. "You're in the wrong line," he said. I smiled politely at first. Old habits. "No, I'm not." He laughed. Not friendly, amused. "Yeah, you are. This line is for priority passengers." "I know," I said, holding up my boarding pass. He didn't look at it. Instead, he raised his voice. "You people always do this. Act like you belong somewhere you haven't earned. You people." There it was. The line behind me went quiet in that way crowds do when they sense conflict but don't want to touch it. Someone shuffled their bag. Someone else cleared their throat. No one said a word. The gate agent froze. Young, nervous eyes darting between us like a trapped animal. I felt that familiar tightening in my chest. The one that says, "Here we go again." The part of you that wants to disappear and the part of you that's tired of disappearing start arguing fast. "I have a valid boarding pass," I said calmly. "Please step back." That's when he smiled wider. "Oh, I love that tone," he said. "So confident. It's adorable." A few people laughed. Nervous laughs, but laughs all the same. He leaned closer, lowering his voice just enough to feel personal. "Let me guess. You listened to a podcast, read a quote, decided you were just as qualified as everyone else up here." I could feel eyes on my back, phones lifting, the heat of being watched. For a split second, I thought about stepping out of line, just letting it go, catching my flight in peace. Then I thought about how many times I'd done that before, how many rooms I'd shrunk myself out of because someone louder decided I didn't belong. "No," I said, "I'm not moving." His smile snapped. "Well then," he said loudly, turning slightly so the audience behind him could hear this should be educational. He waved at security. "Can we get some help here before she delays everyone else?" Security stepped closer but didn't intervene. They never do at first. They wait to see who breaks. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I just stood there. Eventually, the supervisor came over, scanned my boarding pass, paused for a fraction of a second too long, then nodded. "She's clear," she said. The man scoffed. Unbelievable. He stepped aside, still shaking his head, still muttering about standards and people who don't know their place. I boarded without another word. I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. When I reached my seat, I found him again. Front of the cabin. First row. Across the aisle. He stopped dead when he saw me slide into my assigned seat. "Well, would you look at that?" he said loudly. The mistake followed us on board. A few heads turned. The flight attendant froze mid-step. I looked up at him. "Please let boarding continue." He chuckled. "Oh, I'm fascinated now. Seat like this, acting like it's normal." "I am seated correctly," I said. "That's debatable," he replied. Confidence has a way of confusing people. The flight attendant tried to intervene. "Sir, we're almost done boarding." One moment he snapped, never looking at her. "This is about safety." Safety. Funny how that word gets used. He leaned closer to me, voice low. Sitting near power doesn't mean you have it. I felt something shift then, not anger. Clarity. "You're out of line," I said. He laughed. "I've handled worse than you." The cabin went silent when he called me a distraction. That word hit harder than the rest. Distraction. Like my presence alone was a threat. "I'm seated. I'm compliant," I said. "I'm not interfering with anything." "That's the problem," he shot back. "You're acting like you belong." I stood up. Not fast, not aggressive, just enough to change the energy. "Step back," I said quietly. "You're not fit to command this moment." Someone gasped. I felt it ripple. His eyes widened for the first time. "Excuse me. I'm naming behavior," I said. Not giving orders. The purser appeared at the front. "Sir Cockpit." He leaned in close and hissed, "Enjoy the seat while it lasts." He thought humiliation was power. He thought silence meant surrender. He didn't know who I was. We pushed back late. He made an announcement about delays and professionalism, eyes locked on me the entire time. Mid-flight my phone vibrated. Once, twice. Verified audio. Multiple angles, clear footage. I typed one word. Proceed. When we landed, I stayed seated. Calm, patient. Security didn't come for me. HR did. Conference room, immediate. He walked in first, joking, confident, arms crossed. I walked in second. The room went quiet. I placed my bag on the table. "Good afternoon," I said. "Thank you for meeting on short notice." He laughed. "This is ridiculous." "It's confirmed," someone said softly. We played the recordings. His words filled the room. Belong. Distraction. Sit down. Color drained from his face. "This is a misunderstanding," he said, taken out of context. "Misunderstandings de-escalate," I replied. "What you did escalated." I slid the folder forward. "Effective immediately, your role is suspended pending evaluation." "You can't do this," he said, standing. "I can," I said, "and I am." No one objected. He stormed out. What happened next didn't make headlines. That's the part people don't like. Justice isn't loud. It's procedural. It's emails and meetings and quiet changes that don't trend. Training reviews. Oversight. Standards enforced. The gate agent who froze that day. She stood taller the next morning. The flight attendant who tried to intervene. She told me she felt safer. As for me, I walked out of that airport lighter than I'd walked in. Not because I won, because I didn't shrink. Because for once, silence wasn't forced on me. It was chosen. And it worked. If you've ever been told you don't belong, if you've ever watched someone abuse authority while everyone else stayed quiet, I want to know what you would have done in that moment. Was I right to stand my ground? Was he just enforcing order? Where do we draw the line between confidence and cruelty? Tell me in the comments. Share your story. Disagree with me if you want. These conversations matter. Because power doesn't always look like shouting. Sometimes it looks like calm, holding your space and letting the truth do the work.